Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the DX Gamer Show. My name is Mike, aka Operation DX, and it is back to work for episode number 31. We made a metric ton of money completing a lot of those contracts, so I'm going to go ahead and purchase a couple of upgrades for my space center. Gonna need those for a couple of future missions I have planned here. Like I was talking about in the previous episode, I want to do a big homecoming mission with an SSTO. Kind of gave you guys a little glimpse of some of the stuff I've been working on with that KSP extra video. So I'm essentially going to do exactly what I was talking about in the previous episode. I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up for the tech tree. So I need exactly 3,550 science to close that up. This can all be done from BOP. I have tons of data I can load up into my science lab, and it already has almost a full load of data. So essentially what I'm doing here is I'm speeding up time and just going to be transmitting off that science. So yeah, and that's pretty much going to wrap things up for that. There are a couple of extra missions that I had talked about that I was planning on doing. That is, of course, the mission to Moho to visit the Mo Hole. And I know that one commenter was expressing that he wants to see more of the famous Kerbals, Jeb, Bill, and Bob, so we'll go ahead and load them up for that particular mission. It will be a nice send-off for the series. However, I do realize that there is some of you out there that wants this series to continue for a little while. And then there is the other camp that has been asking me to play some other games. Have you checked this game out? Have you checked this game out? That sort of thing. So, not sure what I'm going to do. Of course, I have the other Let's Play rolling right now. And, of course, there has been requests for me to start up the other KSP series, which I was talking about in the previous episode. So I had that resource mission thing going on, and then I had that Into the Future thing that I actually never did, but I did a whole bunch of work in 0.25 with just tons of mods, doing some tweaks and making it just awesome and making the jump drive stuff work really cool. And yeah, so I have picked up some games that I haven't played yet, but I don't know if I'm going to do like a full-blown series on them. I don't know, you know, I just kind of waited too long on certain things. So anyways, you can see me doing my standard thing here with the mouse, trying to judge the direction I should be traveling in. For some reason, like, I kind of I fell apart at this part here. Like, it's like I forgot how to play the frickin' game. It was just weird. It's like, dude, you know what direction like prograde and retrograde is, but I don't know. It just wouldn't compute to me. So like, I had it right the frickin' first time, and then I go back and forth and back and forth. That's all right. This craft can it can deal with could deal with doing that, but it's just so ridiculous. I'm like, what direction? Are you serious? What? Okay, I went the wrong way. All right. Oh no, wait a minute. I went the wrong way again. It was just stupid. It's just stupid. Anyways, so yeah, got all the science I needed for wrapping up the tech tree here. See, I'm just going back and forth here, like it's like I don't know. I don't even know what's going on here. Okay, yeah, so got enough science to wrap up the tech tree, and now I'm setting up to do my burn to send the Kerbals home. Yeah, they've been on a long mission. This is probably going to end up being like a 15-year mission or so, so they're probably ready to get out of the tin can, hang out in Kerbin. You know, and poor Jeb. I hope he brought some video games and lots of sandwiches on board his transport ship, because he has been sitting on Minmus for like 10 freaking years, right? 10 years just chilling on Minmus. Yeah, I hope you brought a deck of cards or something, because, I mean, dude, seriously, right? We can just assume that he's been doing transport missions back and forth to the station while we've been doing all this Jewel stuff. Which makes me think of an earlier comment about how I do one mission at a time and all that. But I don't know. That is just how I play Kerbal Space Program. You know what's kind of sad is a lot of stuff that I have done for the series and in this series, you guys actually haven't seen or didn't get to watch. But it's just some of the stuff I can't really show you, you know, because it's too long and too brutal and too tedious kind of thing, you know. I mean, spending all that time working on the Goddess or some of those SSTOs and just the endless amount of tweaking and whatever, and yeah, you know, I just don't think that makes for a very interesting. I mean, the end result is interesting, but I don't think it makes for a interesting video. Anyways, so I just read the note on the mission that I have left. So I have one contract left to finish. So of course, there is one teeny tiny little detail that I just happened to miss. And that was that the ship that flies over to Ike and returns to Kerbin needs to, in fact, land back down on Kerbin. So that is not going to happen. But that contract never expires. So I can, in fact, just leave it for a later day kind of thing. But again, not exactly sure what I'm going to do with the series. So, yeah. You guys are free to suggest things in the comments. I always listen and read them, of course, and I usually bring them up, if they're relevant, in each episode. Yeah, just like the whole, I finally figured out how to transfer Kerbals, because I couldn't figure out for the life of me. I kept thinking that you could just use the fuel way to transfer Kerbals, because that is the way the mod worked, to transfer Kerbals between modules. But no, did not realize you have to actually click on the hatch or the door. And then, I like it. I like it better than the mod, honestly. So that's kind of cool. Alright, so what I'm doing here is, essentially I'm setting myself up in between Duna and Kerbin. And then I'm going to go ahead and stabilize myself. I really shouldn't have to do any major plane changes here. Although this is typically a fairly brutally long approach from going from Jewel to whatever. That's why I have just no interest whatsoever, as I've expressed in earlier episodes, to visit Elu. Because, dude, look at Elu, man. It just goes way the crap out there. So, I mean, you just be hanging a long time. I mean, like I said it in my .22 series. It just like makes me recall. It seems like sometimes there should be one extra notch on the time accelerator. But I don't know if the game can handle it, especially with craft like this, especially with craft like the Goddess. Just kind of thinking back on this series, and oh man, like this freaking month just flew by because I've been having so much fun playing Kerbal Space Program again. But anyways, just kind of thinking back to some of the comments, and I just realized that I have not actually built a rover in this entire series, which is kind of unusual. And the path I took down the tech tree was kind of unusual as well. Like, I didn't really go for, you know, space planes till much later, and my initial space plane episodes were just kind of like distractions. They didn't have much of a purpose. I mean, they got a teeny tiny little bit of minuscule amount of science, which was ultimately a waste of time. I mean, what I probably should have done is contracts or something. I should have done one of those weird contracts, or fly over this location at 6,000 meters or whatever, that sort of thing. And, you know, it's kind of shocking after playing 1.0, like all the nerfing that's been going on in this game. I mean, yeah, I complained about the LVN in several episodes, and yeah, I was pretty wrong about the stuff I was saying about it, which is a little embarrassing, but you know what? It's out there. It's done deal. But they did nerf it. Essentially, sorry. It essentially gets 0 thrust at low Kerbin altitude or high atmosphere. So I mean, in that sense, it was nerfed, and that was the one thing I didn't even talk about. I didn't even bring that up. It's like, yeah, I mean, they did lower the mass on it. It still has 800 impulse, so yeah, I was wrong about all that stuff. And now I'm using the LVNs like crazy. I think it's funny because another one comments was how I was complaining about the LVN, and then how I was talking about the science lab being OP. So, yep, that is me. That is me. Anyways, I am more than happy to admit when I'm incorrect or when I make mistakes, because I do. And that is fine. It's absolutely fine. All right, so, it's funny, because this whole play session, I just could not get my mojo straight with flying around Kerbin. So, once again, I had put myself in a retrograde position around Kerbin. And it was already set up in a prograde position, but I don't know why, like, what was wrong with me with this this particular play session. I mean, what was it? Would I do it like 3 or 4 times on Bop? Back and forth, back and forth. I mean, you can go back and watch that part of the video and be like, dude, seriously, what? So here, essentially just changing around. Now, fortunately, it didn't require all that much. But again, I mean, I say it too much about this craft, because this craft is freaking awesome. It's awesome. It's a mobile fueling station that can fly pretty much anywhere. It's like the coolest thing I've ever made in this game. And my original thoughts, or my original design philosophies, as I talked about earlier, was based upon the craft that I built in the .22 series. That was my jewel craft. And this is just a heaping ton bigger. I can't remember what the mass of this thing was. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely absurd. And another valid comment is I accidentally forgot to turn off the oxidizer production on this craft. So I'm carrying around more mass, which makes the thrusters have to work a little harder. Yeah, so, and I'm kind of burning up my my ore. But yeah, and like all of my ore missions, they've all been like complete failures. I mean, the only thing I didn't really screw up was the initial fueling of the craft before I left Minmus Station for my mission. It's fortunate I didn't mess that up somehow, but yeah, so like the first time I sent down the craft, it already had ore in it, and then crashed one of them. Anyways, so Jeb, we're finally getting Jeb off the surface of Minmus, and he's going to meet up with a goddess. And this is pretty much all my Kerbals that are out and about right now, I believe. I just have the 3 on board the goddess, and then Jeb is here in the transport. You're going to have to let me know if I'm forgetting anybody, but I think this is everybody that is out right now. And then the poor Kerbals that have to hang in for just a wee bit longer, as I talked about earlier, to supervise the replacement of one of my mining craft for the goddess, and then that thing will be just sitting in the orbit of Kerbin, and then that will probably be the ship that I take over to Moho after I do the whole SSTO thing. Yep. So pretty much got the next few missions planned. Now the cool thing, finally, is I'm going to launch a craft that is on my own terms, not doing a contract, and I'm essentially going to get the full value of the craft back, minus a few credits. Not too big of a deal, because a lot of these craft that I've launched up to do all this stuff was rather expensive. Now, of course, the contracts that I picked up when I did the whole goddess mission way covered for the cost of that ship. I don't remember. I think that the goddess was 500,000 credits in total for the launch vehicle and the vehicle itself. Well worth it. So we made, I don't know what, we already had like a couple of million-ish, like 1.5 million. So we made some good money with those contracts with that vehicle. And then now that I've got a couple of SSTOs, I mean, doing a couple of those transport missions where the Kerbals like to get into orbit or suborbit or go visit the moon or whatever, those missions would be a lot easier to do, but not really interested in those anymore. Those were the starter missions, essentially. Now, if you look at those contracts, they want to go all over the frickin' place. They want to land down on like crazy planets. Take me to Elu. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. How about go to the Mohole? Because that's where I'm going. But there won't be a contract to that. It'd be kind of cool if, you know, the Deves, you know, because they realized that it was just so crazy of a bug that they had to keep it in their game, that they actually did a contract to it. Gosh, there's a lot of stuff I haven't done in this series. I haven't done the asteroid stuff. I haven't, you know, because I could redirect an asteroid and put it around Kerbin. That's always fun to do. And then mine asteroids. I think they're more valuable. I don't know. There's tons of stuff, dude. Anyways. All right. So Jeb's getting inside here, and that is essentially going to wrap things up for this one. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Have a great day, and take care.